We're here today for a really exciting new project.
I'm Dario Cotroneo, founder of DCI Education. Natia, how are you going?
I'm feeling great, thank you. Very excited.
All right, nice Brazilian energy, I love it. Essence of a really good connection with our client and our guest is an amazing consultation. And thanks to our friends at Timely, they've created this beautiful software in the Timely app called Consult. So I'm going to walk Natia through this beautiful process on how to do an efficient and effective consultation in order to understand what she understands and for Natia to understand what I understand. Okay, Natia, what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to fill out this form, first starting off with your name, last name, email address, and then continue to fill it out, and then I'll have a conversation with you at the end.
Nice.
Okay, so Natia's filled out this care form, which the care form enables me to understand. So Natia's put here, looking for change, her condition's dry, she's open for a slight change, and color permanent, and she's an every 6-month client. It's very cheeky. So then the next stage is scope of work. So what scope of works is designed is for us to really connect and talk about what her actual restrictions are. So Natia, with your length, can you show me with your fingers what's the most we can cut off your length today?
Around here.
Yeah. So 4 fingers?
Yeah.
That's it. We said that a little bit
I don't
earlier.
know if I should say it or
Yeah, that was really good. It was really good. It's the first time in my whole entire career I've heard 4 fingers. And I then had to qualify, is it man fingers or is it girl fingers?
My fingers.
That's right. I love that. This is really
Child's
awesome.
fingers.
It's good. Okay. In terms of shape, are you open to having shape around your face?
Yes, definitely.
Great. So what would be the shortest you'd be willing to put it in terms of shape?
I think I trust you.
Oh, nice.
So you can
Very nice.
see my face and see what you think matches.
Good. But just thinking about it, because I have to push you.
Okay.
Okay. So what would be the shortest you'd be willing to go in terms of shape?
I think here. But I think it's gonna look good.
Yeah. Just to really open up your face. Okay. Okay. So what I put down here is length, 4 fingers, girl fingers. So in terms of shape around jawline area,
Yeah.
and then to really open up your face. So what I suggest is something a little bit lighter, so not so heavy for you. Okay. Okay. So what about color? What are your restrictions with color?
With color, I just don't want to be blonde.
Yeah.
I want to keep a brunette vibe
Yeah.
with my hair, but I can go lighter. I think it's gonna look pretty for summer.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so with colour, what I've understood is not blonde with a brunette vibe with lighter areas. Okay, really good. And what would you like to mostly improve in your hair?
I think it's a bit too straight. You know, it doesn't have a lot of personality, and I would like to increase that and make it more summery.
Yeah, great. I love that description. That's really awesome. So at this stage of the consult, what I'd recommend we do is we quote based on how much this full service will cost our guests and how much time it will be. And this will ensure that you're on the same page with your guest, because the last thing you want is mid-service is for your guest to turn around and say, how much longer will this take? So really need to know how much time she has and design a service around time and cost to make sure that we're all united and heading in the same direction. So what I've done is I've quoted you through here and I've given you a time estimate. So you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. And if you're happy with that, now before we start, one thing I do love before we move forward is always ask my guests, do you want a conversation or a timeout? So what I'll get you to do is I'll get you to click conversation or timeout, and I'll get you to sign off down the bottom. Now, for me, before I move any further, what I want to do as a stylist is I want to just make sure that we're on the same page, just as a default setting. So I'm going to get you to flip your head right over. That's it. You're going to mess it up. Okay, you're going to flip it back for me. Okay, now neaten it up with your hands. A little bit more. What I realised with you, Natia, is that you like volume in your hair and you love length, the way your hands went. So you really got to understand where your client's hands go, show exactly what's important for them. So at this stage, what I propose you do is you go behind your client, please start pushing their hair around and just showing her what you'd like to do and moving their hair around. And if your guest says she normally goes one way, try and go the opposite way. You want to see what her photogenic side is and what's going to work. So we go one look one way, we go another look the other way. And again, it's about seeing You know, when your guest leaves today, does she want to look brand new like the boss, or does she want to look lived in and really pretty? And so these are elements that we can work on, because as a stylist, we have to get inspired. And I think sometimes when we get clients coming in, we see them as their old self, and we have to start looking and introducing new things to bring out a newer version of themselves. And that's really where it gets exciting for hairdressing, is where you're showing someone a new future, something that they've never experienced before. And that's why you have to push people. I think if we're agreeable as hairdressers, well, we're not going to get anywhere with that client. The client's going to control the situation, and we're going to be doing work that doesn't inspire us. So once we've finished diagnosing what we're going to do, we're going to walk the guests in terms of our restrictions down here. I give my guests two options. If we go square, we're going to broaden the jawline. If we go diagonal, we're going to stretch the jawline. I always ask the guest, which would you prefer? So which would you prefer? Looking slimmer or looking a bit broader?
Slimmer.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so really at this stage we're selling desire, and so then we're going to go to in shape. So really looking at the shortest point, I'm probably going to take it around about esophagus where I want to see that come in. I'm not a big fan of volume going too short, because the more lift we get, then the shorter that will be. So that would be my belt where I want to see that haircut come in, and giving her a really nice silhouette moving through here. So if we go side on, looking at the silhouette, I want to see that extended out a little bit more voluminous through that. So before we get started, we're going to take a before photo so we can actually compare at the end the actual transformation. I encourage you to do this with every guest. Whether it's a minor change or a big transformation, you actually want to share at the end your guest the experience. So photo from the front, great, really good. So what we'll do is we'll store this on file. At the end, we're going to walk you through how this is going to look amazing. Yeah, and I do love this is the drug for me in hairdressing, is the actual transformation. Watching, because I believe, guys, we're selling happiness in hairdressing, and ultimately, when you can bring happiness to someone's life in quite a short period in terms of time, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so let's get started for the haircut. Okay, so in terms of sectioning, what we're going to do is we're going to take a V section from the front through to crest line and back through 2 fingers behind crown. So we're going to take it through here to crest line, we're going to come back through a curved section through the back here, and we're going to clip everything off, and then we're going to take out panels that we're not going to cut. So we'll get started. So as you can see, we've taken this V section through the front and we've curved this off through the back. So we're just going to spin around so you can see that. Okay, back around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take out our edit points. So our edit points are actually our haircut areas that we're not cutting. So we're going to be taking them out of spaces. So we start from the back, we'll work our way forward. So we're going to take out a section first. We're going to zigzag that. So that area there, we're going to leave out. So it's really important that you zigzag that all the way across, because that'll help you with your blend. And it's got to be slightly distorted, it can't be even. So the next piece that we take out is pretty much half your comb's width. Zigzag that out. You'll then bring this to the side. We'll clip this. Okay, so then we'll move forward, and the next piece will be zigzag half a comb's width all the way through. That'll be brought into this section, and then the same process. We're going to take out half a comb's width, zigzag across. Probably be a little bit lighter, not so heavy, and then we'll bring that down. Back. So these pieces that we leave out are going to be remaining one length. That will diffuse the shape and enable the color to really look beautiful without cutting into the color line or making the color look quite distorted. So, but what we're going to do now is we're going to establish making sure the underneath's really secure before we start. So I'm going to secure this really tight, clean up the underneath. I'll put my marker in and then we'll get started. It's actually really quick. I spend more time in my sectioning, in my mapping, in the shape, the design, than the actual labor of the haircut. For me, that's where it should be in hairdressing. It should be about quick transformations, but well thought after transformation. So making sure it's considered for the right solution for the right guest. So now we've secured everything underneath. You can see through the absolute panels. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not going to be cut, they're going to be kept one length through here. So they're sitting just outside, just there, and everything's secured, ready to go. So we'll just do a little spin around so you can see it. Awesome. So now we're ready to put our marker in when we've got our 4 disconnected pieces out. We've got everything sectioned off evenly. So I'm going to take a section across the top, let that out, and I'm going to clip this forward, just in there. And because everything's secure within this haircut, and I've got to be just delicate that I don't comb up the underneath pieces out. Going to get my marker in, so I'm dividing that in half. I'm now going to be placing my marker down where I want to cut, around about here. I'm going to lift that up, realize how much I have to take off. So lift that up. And then I'm going to point that off, pointing into that. As long as it's nice and pointed, we're going to lift, comb that out, and have a look at where that falls. So it's still quite long, and take off a little bit more. I spend more time getting my marker right than I actually do in the whole haircut. So it's really what dictates the shape. Really pointing into that. It's really important when you'll be checking from the top down, don't look at it from the bottom because that's the furthest that it has to travel. Now I'm happy with where that's sitting. So now what I'm going to do is bring this together. So we're going to use this technique called meshing, which is meshing the roots. Just getting in there, meshing away, meshing away. What this is going to do, this is going to help the blend and really diffuse the actual shape that we're putting in. That's it. Only mesh up about 3 centimeters. We'll bring the front back. What you want to do is just slightly mesh those roots just in there. I love this technique. And why do we call it meshing, guys? Really simple. Because if you were to say back combing, it'd be really easy for your guest to copy this. And we don't want that. We don't want her going into another salon, telling that salon how it was cut and why it was cut. And then it can be copied and then our work becomes redundant. What we want to do in hairdressing is we want to actually make sure that everything we do is very hard to copy, so our guests can actually never go anywhere else but see you, okay? So now we're going to bring all that back. Now before you start, looking at where we're at with our guide, that's our marker, we're bringing it all back. Look at this piece here, that piece will be coming back to around about here. So that's how long her wing will be. So what we're going to do now is lift this up, we're going to take away the excess. Guideline is. And really soften that shape. I want to make it look like it's about, really lived in about 6 to 8 weeks in terms of comfort factor on the ends. So everything's contributing from the weaving inside the panels that we've taken out to the meshing and to the actual softening of the ends. Everything makes this look truly lived in when we're finished. And you want to make sure that all your work is very hard to see internally. I don't like seeing DNA of a cut inside the actual fabric of the hair. I love seeing it look really expensive. And someone that knew what they were doing performed that shape. So it's all about attracting new clients, and that's what we want to do. Not only keep our client happy, but also attract like-minded clients. So just lifting that all back. Great, happy with that. Going in a little bit deeper. What we're going to do last section is bring all of this forward. Good, so we've got that tree, got it softened, and then we're ready to reveal. So we'll put that to the side. Okay, so I'm really happy to share with you just how easy that is. So ultimately what we're going to do now is we're going to turn Natia to the side. I'm going to take out the clips. I like doing this away from my salon guests. So I'm going to turn you around a little bit more. So ultimately we're going to take out all these clips. And I prefer using a brush because it's a lot easier on the roots, and just get it all integrating. So you can see the longer pieces that come over and absolutely diffuse the shape. But when I put my hands through it, I've actually got shape in there that wants to move. And I just love how easy this shape wants to fall into place now in terms of what it's doing there. So you can see how it's wanting to fall in through there. So it's very subtle, but it's actually, you know, quite massive in terms of the weight reduction and the shape that we're giving her through here. What you'll see is when we flick this over is the height. And I love this, the actual underneath wing is really helping us in terms of giving us this off-duty side here. Before I go to the actual back, I just want to show you in terms of the profile, what we've done is we've given Natia this really beautiful silhouette. So that's no product, and you can see how much that's sitting up beautifully in there, giving her shape. And that for me is really about organic hairdressing. It should look natural, it should look sustainable, and most importantly, it should be well considered and planned. But this very much is a haircut that's very much the balayage of haircuts, and I love the effect of it just looking really natural, which works really beautiful on the hair texture that we're working with. So you brush it all out, you can't see anything, but yet you've got all this internal volume that just hides underneath there. And that's where I find guests are really attracted to, because guests can't see any evidence that it's been cut, but they can certainly feel the effects of having a really cool shape. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work into length. So we're just going to keep it fairly central in the middle. Share by taking that density away and lifting this up. When you start to get lift and movement, see how that collapses down the bottom? And that's the type of shape we want to put in. I feel that's quite modern for longer hair, to have that looking lived in, the volume and the plushness through here, and then a beautiful silhouette really pinnacling around that profile. Because you've got such a beautiful face, and I just want to take a little bit more pressure off that jaw by giving her a bit more upward energy through here.
Oh yes, I see the difference in the ends.
Yeah.
It was much more heavy before.
Yeah.
Now I look like a supermodel.
I love it. Well, it's got life into it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's just dead and heavy.
Before it looked like I cut it myself.
Yeah. But the idea, it's got a more modern feel to it now. And even if you wear it in the middle, you've got these beautiful wings, you've got this great, but I'd love to work with it where we open up that beautiful part of your face and we get movement in there. So I do love where this is going. I love the vibe. For me, that's sitting so beautiful. So nice. It's gonna look great with Carl's color work. Really nice. And I just love, if you can see the angle just slightly into a point, instead of looking so square down the bottom, it again just stretches the face and gives it a nice new modern feel. I really love it. Really great. Very good. So we're ready for color. Are you excited?
Very.
G'day everyone, my name is Colab, National Copyright Educator for TIGI ANZ. Thank you Dario so much, beautiful haircut, I'm loving this volume shape. Natya, how do you feel?
Very good, I'm excited for color.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a beautiful color, really complement that voluminous soft shape, really organic and natural. I know in the consultation you talked about natural, brunette vibe and not blonde, correct?
Correct.
Yes, I think that's going to complement it really well. You've got the most beautiful, natural dark hair. And I think one of those things, we don't want to over-color dark hair. So this kind of natural texture of balayage is going to be absolutely beautiful. So the technique is all about face framing and getting a little bit more lightness around the hairline. So the foil placement is going to be pivoting from her natural parting. And that's going to allow for a little bit more lightness coming through around the hairline and a little bit more darkness coming through in the back. And in between the foils, I'm going to work on a really simple, salon-friendly balayage technique that everyone can nail in the first attempt. So let's get straight into the second pattern. Our sectioning, and I'm going to go mix up the color and prepare for the color technique. So for this technique, we're going to utilize two different lighteners. I'm using True Light with 20 volume 6%. So our second mixture is True Light Freestyle Blonder with 30 volume, utilized for a balayage freehand technique. Right guys, we're now ready to start our technique, so let's get straight into it. So the first thing we're going to do is going to place our first foil following the hairline. The following foils will then pivot up and end up under the last section under the crown. I'm going to use really fine seamless weaves to create more a shimmering effect than a highlight. The second foil will leave 1 to 2 centimeter gap and we'll start pivoting up. Once we completed our 2 first foils, secure the second one up grab the hair in between and do a textured weave right through the section. And these will be freehand painted with a freestyle bonder and 30 completed our two foils and our freehand piece in between. We go to our left side and mirror what we did on the first side. When we're waving, make sure we go through the whole section to cover all of the hair. So I've now finished one section on each side, and then just alternate, work your way up to the crown section. crown section, we're going to continue in the same technique of foil and balayage in between in the hair's natural form. Continuing with the sides, we're going to start placing a first foil following the hairline, pivoting out and doing the same freehand technique in between. Section, and we're going to continue in the same pattern, foil and balayage in between until we reach a natural path So I'm in my last section on the top, and it's really important to leave out a fraction of a section sitting on top of the park line just to get a really nice and beautiful blend. finished the technique, we're going to let this process visually until we get the desired lift. I've now finished your colour, and before we hand over to Dario for his beautiful styling, I want to quickly take you through my toning application. So I've utilised 3 different formulations, starting with 7/2, 8/08 and 9/12, all in TIGI Copyright Colour Gloss, 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio with 5 volume. Throughout the hairline, we've utilised 7/2, just 1 centimetre, smudged into 8/08, 2 inches, and then continue with 9/112. Throughout the rest of the hair, to create a little bit more depth, I've applied 7/2, 3 to 4 inches, and then blended into 9/12. And that's our toning formulation.
Alright, so we're at the final chapter of this beautiful transformation with Natia. I'm really excited to reveal your gorgeous colour. We've not shown her too much yet of how it's going to look. I'm going to start off by prepping the hair with some foundation products and also protective products and really working that root lift. Once we've smoothened it all out, we're going to turn it into quite a gorgeous editorial style. Okay, so now I'm going to put in some of my favourite product from TIGI, which is texturizing spray. Just want to give it a little bit more grit at the mid-length area. A little bit at the root around the front. So we've finished off our beautiful Natia styling. I love how the colour's just looking so natural, sun-kissed, really beautiful, on point. Now, the tip for styling is to really push your hands into the belt and ensure that your guest knows to do that as well, because that'll maximise the shape. It's designed, this volume technique, to really pop when you push it in at those belt areas. Love the colour. How are you?
I love it so much. It got me by surprise.
Yeah.
For me to look at it, I love it. I think it's very Latin J-Lo.
Yeah.
Summer.
It's got a great J-Lo vibe. Okay, so in terms of styling, this is really quite raw. All I've really worked through is a nice classic clean blow dry, scaffolding products to make sure that there's a lot of grip. But my hero product here is the texturizing spray. That ultimately gets that hair to really expand, and for me, look more modern in off-duty styling. So, Nasia, you ready to see the before and after?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Wow. So look at you. You can see the
Love
before.
it. Wow, such a big difference.
Yeah. So just seeing a lot more softer, more caramelized, more sun-kissed, but you've still got your brunette in there, but just taking away the heaviness. And just how light your hair looks. Looks so good. Light
And
in weight.
natural.
Yeah. I really love it. You happy?
Me too. Very happy.
Yeah, good. The consultation today was, in terms of colour, not blonde, but a brunette vibe with lighter areas. And you feel like we've achieved that?
Definitely.
And then I'm going to sign it off, and that'll complete today's visit. So now what I'd like to do is turn it into a beautiful editorial style and just giving it some movement, some texture, and really opening it up. Okay, so we have, ta-da! How do you feel?
Feels so good. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You look amazing.
Feel amazing.
Okay, elbow. Bang. Alright guys, thank you so much. A massive shout out to Carl for doing such a beautiful job. You've nailed this colour and the brief. And guys, just hopefully been inspired by what we've shared with you, just how simple, innovative techniques can be with some beautiful concepts to inspire you along the way. Before I go, a massive shout out to TIGI for making this event happen. And everyone else, I hope you're well, and I can't wait to see you in our next video. Cheers guys, take care.
As hairdressers, we all know how important it is to make our clients feel special when they leave the salon. With TIGI Copyright, we can now offer your client a fully customized experience for professional and personal perfection, available through your salon.